Yo, JD here, Limitless, and as you can see, back on F1 2019, but this will probably be the very last F1 2019 competitive race that I will do. And you can see by that lobby there, if you're unfamiliar with some of those names, I can tell you that this is probably the most competitive grid altogether that there's been on the Xbox platform in a single race. I would confidently say about 20 or 18 to 19 of the top 30 drivers on Xbox are in this lobby right now. So this is something that I actually organised myself, and as something else you might be able to notice that I'm using a completely different wheel. This is the Fanatec Podium DD1 wheel. I used to have the DD2, which I used barely before, only for a couple of races. Never got the right settings of it, but I've had this one for a little while from Fanatec, and I decided to strap this on because this race is not a league race. It doesn't really mean anything at all, and sometimes the best way to learn something is to throw yourself in the deep end, and that's exactly what I wanted to do here. And I put this wheel on last night, and then this race was the next day, and I felt extremely good pretty quickly. And this is actually the fastest lap that I did in qualifying, where my pole position time was a 25.7 in TSRL, although my PB is a 0.4. But this lap here, you'll be able to see, was a lap I was actually very, very happy with, considering I've only probably had about 2 or 3 hours of playtime. And the main thing is really the pedals. The pedals are a load cell pedal. It's the Club Sport V3 pedals, which I did use before and won a couple of races with. But going from a Thrustmaster T3PA, which again I think is a very good entry budget pedal set, but to this, it's a lot more force is required. So this was going to take me a little bit of adjusting, but initially out the box, pace looked surprisingly good. And you can see so far, the lap has gone pretty well. The lap before this, you can see going to the chicane on the previous one, we went in really, really deep here. So I'm actually up on my time, and I knew there was so much time to find in the last chicane. So go through here, the rules I allowed people to go out wide here. It's not particularly strict. Plus, it's the last race in this game. Coming through into here, controlling my speed much better, and you can just see the time we have gained through the delta here and coming across the line. It is a 25.7, which puts me in provisional P3. And honestly, I was so happy of that. Driving on this, which is just night and day difference. Not in terms of how much better it is, but just the feeling of it. It doesn't feel anything like a Thrustmaster, but I just felt at home on this straight away. Found some really, really good settings, which I will be sharing when the new game comes out, because I'll probably have to tweak it a little bit for that. But now we've got 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights here, and trying to get away on this ultra competitive grid here, and we get a pretty decent start, just maintaining our position. 6th place was only 6th place for that 25.7, but the grid was so close here. So I seized the opportunity, got around the outside of the racing point of VSR Logic, I believe that is, and then go down the inside of Shadow 19 and trying to get a good launch off this corner. He manages to cut straight out in front of me, but I'm trying to get into the slipstream of him, and so far that's a very good start. Really taking the initiative here as the virtual safety car comes out, because when organising this, a lot of people wanted the safety car turned on, which, as you know, I am not a big fan of the virtual safety car, which I'm just talking about now, because I think it just gets triggered by absolutely everything. So we are going to skip towards the end of that little period as we go back under racing speed here, and it's a good start. Nice, bold, aggressive, and showing some good confidence with this new equipment here. But it's almost 3 wide going down the end of the hangar straight here, and you can see we've got the people like V-Syra, SHZ, Ewan, who else have we got? Carl Mitchell, Shadow ahead of me. These guys are absolutely rapid on this game, so we're in a very good position at this point. We can definitely, if I got a podium in this race with this experience in this, I would have been absolutely buzzing about it. We'll take this to almost flat out. Shadow has to lift slightly, so we go down the inside of him. He leaves some room on the entry here. He's got the inside for next corner, but I try and go around the outside first, get for the extra rotation, trying to get the traction as hard as I can here, just about staying on the track here, and we are running 1/6 wing, so we should be quite slippery in a straight line. So I'm going to try and hold it round the outside once again, make a little bit of contact, and I think unfortunately he has lost the car. But I have watched this back quite a few times now. I felt I lost, I was almost lose the car there, but I felt I left quite a bit of room on that inside here. And after the race, he said no worries. That was pretty unfortunate. I know sometimes I say I leave room, and I probably could leave a lot more room, but I think on that occasion I did leave quite a bit of room. But unfortunately, the contact model in this game, if you make a slightest touch on the rear of a car with your front wing, you could be very susceptible to spinning out, unfortunately. But that has promoted us to P4 this race. But you can see here, we are just about just over a second behind. And for the rest of the stint, I just couldn't get back in that DRS. And you can see again, just a fraction over a second behind. So we're just out of this DRS zone, which unfortunately means I've had to use so much of my ERS to even keep myself in contention. Because I've said this so many times before, being in the DRS zone is just so crucial in this game. If you're out of it, you're going to have to just... you can't be efficient with your fuel saving, with the ERS or anything at all. It really is a nightmare. But showing that the pace, at least, is very promising on this.
The thing about this car is that you're into the
I was
pit lane.
feeling really good at this point. And going to a race like this, I really wasn't having any expectations, but I really wanted the most competitive grid possible, because again, the way I learned how to play F1, and I think the way I encourage people to learn as well, is to really put yourself in an uncomfortable situation. Because I find personally myself, when I'm put in an uncomfortable situation, that's normally when I perform my best, because I know the expectations are not as high, if that makes sense. Whereas if you're going against people who you feel you're the same level or you're better at, you expect to beat them. So when you don't beat them, it really kind of demotivates you and puts you on a downer. Whereas going to this, I wasn't expecting to win this race. I really was not expecting to be near the front in this race, to be honest, with the caliber of people we've got in here. So this kind of performance at the moment is really good. And you can see we've actually done the undercut on Carl Mitchell and SHZ Ewan. And we have BRL Syra out in front, who I have to say is... you got other guys like Lewis Welch on PS4, who I think is equally as quick, if not quicker on some occasions. But Syra doesn't use any assists or anything at all. I think he is probably the most complete pad player
when he gets up to speed
I have seen in a very long time. I think he's very impressive. I know he puts a lot of time in this game, but you still have to put it around the track. And no, he is, watching his driving style, is extremely impressive. I think he did a stream in this, which I might throw down in the description. He was very impressive, the way he drives on the controller in this game, from Brazil, I believe. But we are currently in a net P2 in this race. And you can see here, Carl Mitchell's out behind me, but since I've used so much ERS in the first stint, I decided to let him pass, because I went for the undercut. And now I'm just hoping to really kind of stick in the DRS zone and just try and save up the ERS, try and build it back up again, as he sets the quickest lap of a race of a 1:28.9, just confirming this guy. I think Carl Mitchell was probably the fastest man, especially with no assists, over 1 lap on Xbox throughout this game. He is absolutely devastatingly quick, but we managed to stay with him, harvesting a little bit more ERS, but I'm having to use quite a bit to keep up in this race here. And now I've got Ewan, who again, one of the quickest men on this game, on this platform at the very least. But we are starting to close in a little bit on Syra, so my plan is working quite well. Just using Mitchell to get back up, harvest my ERS, and then try and attack him at the end of a race. That was really my kind of mindset. But now, I think Mitchell had the same idea I did. He wants to switch positions, and this is just a very common theme on this game, which I really hope is not present on the next one, where it's like a cycling race, as I described before. You go out in front, you do all the work, then you switch positions, then you save all the ERS, and then you just kind of flip and switch all the time. so you can save while still catching people. It's like kart racing and stuff as well, but I really want it to be where the best position it really is to be in front, and the car behind is suffering with dirty air, tyre temps, engine temps, all that kind of stuff. That's what I really want to be happening, but that's the game you really kind of have to play. But at the moment, Syra is gone. He's just quicker than everyone else, and even more impressive around this track, Silverstone, which is not really a particularly amazing track for the controller. He really is showing his true pace on this game, really is. And again, I pretty much done the same thing, just letting Mitchell pass, and now it's my turn to save the ERS whilst he tries to push. But I think we're just kind of holding each other up, really. We're not really benefiting from each other at all. You can see it's a 30.2, which, no, it's not really particularly quick here. Now I've got Ewan in the Renault right behind me, so I have to really pay attention to behind as I actually lock my rears, which puts me out wide. Ewan has got to have a very, very nice run coming out this DRS straight. You can see I've lost a little bit of time to Carl Mitchell, but the good thing is at least I still have the DRS, so he's right behind me. He pulls out to the inside. I'm going to have to do what I did on the first lap, so I was trying to hold it round the outside here and get the inside for this corner, which I do just about here, trying to get the traction nice and early, but we still have to leave some room on the outside because he is still there. He still hasn't given up on this position, because like I said before, if you're in a three-man train, you really want to be the guy in the middle or ahead, not the third man. But we luckily keep the position here, and I could tell how desperate he was to get past.
Rear
because
locking was not nice.
I think I said that at TSRL Brazil, or no, my Spa race I had, if you're the third man, you're kind of in deadlock. You just can't overtake the second man because he's got the DRS on the lead guy, and vice versa. It's so hard. You have to wait for a really big mistake, and that's what he tried to capitalise on here. But moving towards the end of lap 18, I think Mitchell's had a little bit enough of trying to drag me around, so we're going to switch positions once again. But I have managed to harvest a small amount of ERS, but you can see already there's no real point in doing this because Syra has already gone. And again, I think we're just trying to really just save as much ERS as possible. I think that's what everyone is trying to do in this train here. But at the moment, I am really happy with my pace and just the feeling I have of this wheel change that I've had and the pedal change as well. I feel so much more comfortable than I did previously on the Fanatec, and I said this in another one of my videos recently. With a Fanatec and another high-end wheels, we have another virtual safety car. I think it is just so important that you get the right settings, because it can make it feel like a completely different wheel. But we are going to skip on the head once again. But this virtual safety car went on for quite a long time. And one thing to mention for this virtual safety car, there is a glitch that if you are host, you cannot exceed it at all. Whereas if you're not host, it pretty much allows you to go as fast as you want when the virtual safety car is ending, like it is saying right now here. But you will be able to see at the end of this straight, as it finishes, we are 0.061 over, and that's given me a drive-through penalty
because I'm host.
And no, I am saying it's a glitch, but it's not really a glitch, because I knew that was the case, and I just thought, you know what, let's just see if it's actually true, because I've never been a host with a virtual safety car.
That glitches.
I paid the price.
If you're not host,
completely my error. No, not a misjudgment or anything. I knew what I was doing, but it was just a very kind of silly thing to do, because we weren't going to win the race, and I just decided to test it out for no real reason. So that means we have to go into the pits for a drive-through penalty, which you can tell it's quite frustrating, because we're in P2 in that race, and that would have been an absolutely fantastic result for me. That would have been a really nice result, to be honest. But no, this race doesn't mean anything. There was no points or anything at all. And I just decided to take the risk, because a lot of people saying it's true, a lot of people saying it's not. And I tried to play it really close and just paid the price. You just have to stick in the delta if you're the host. If you're not the host, you can get away with it. It's as simple as that. But we're moving on to the fastest lap I've done in this race now. So I haven't pitted for any new medium set of tyres. Pitted quite early as well, and decided to kind of flex the pace to see what the real pace is, because I'm using a very a different kind of setup here today. You can see I'm running 100 diff, which is
My tyres are gone.
absolutely madness. It's kind of like a 2018 style setup, but I decided to unleash it just to see how fast it really is. And again, I was just feeling really, really comfortable. I just feel the main difference I feel with this wheel compared to the Thrustmaster is I could just feel the track a lot more, just much more detailing, and I just feel definitely with the steering right now, it feels just a lot more consistent, whereas the Thrustmaster is kind of light in my hands, and sometimes you'd get an awkward bump, and then another lap you would go over it and you wouldn't get that bump, whereas with here, it feels like you're getting a consistent feedback quite a lot, which is really, really what you want here. And plus the pedals as well, it's going to take me a while to get used to them because I'm having to brake so much harder. So I'm really having to retrain that muscle memory, particularly into this corner. I found that with the Thrustmaster pedals, I kind of do a little stab and then that's it. Whereas with this, I have to hold it for longer to slow down. So I was actually going too fast throughout the corners. So that's something
on old medium, so I'll take
I'm just naturally, my muscle memory is just going to adapt to over time. But I was really, really happy with this. Really, really happy. It's got some really good settings, and coming across the line, unfortunately with that drive-through penalty, we do finish outside the points, but I think that race was a very, very promising sign of what is to come in the future. And I have to say, I have loved playing this game. It has not been perfect, but the memories I've had has been insane. And my next video will be my season 10 TSRL championship winning highlights, so stay tuned for that. I really, really hope you enjoy it. And once again, thank you so much for you guys for supporting me on my channel this year. It has been nothing short of incredible. Thank you so much, and I'll catch you in F1 2020. Peace.